Hello everyone and welcome to another video. In today's video, we're going to be stripping down jewels, gems, gear, flasks, everything, and giving ourselves a 10 divine budget to see what content we can and cannot do on my mercenary attribute stacking gemling legionnaire. Try saying that 5 times fast. This is going to be exciting. The build I've utilized for the longest time has a cost in the thousands of divines range. So I am genuinely interested to see just how far we can push this build on a budget. So, without further ado, welcome to a video and the potential first entry into a series that I'd like to call Vaalin on a Budget. Just so we're clear on everything, I created some rules or regulations for this video or series to keep it as fair and as easy to understand as possible. Number 1, the budget for this video is 10 divines. That's it. Everything must be purchased within this budget. That includes gear, weapons and armor, flasks, skill gems, support gems, omens, etc. The only thing I can utilize in its current state is my passive tree, as it does not cost any currency to change, besides gold, and we're not counting gold. Number 2, after I purchase an item, I have to vol it and use it regardless of how it turns out. This is the case for all items. If I have extra currency after I've geared my character, I can utilize it to repurchase other items and try again if they vault badly. However, once all the currency is spent, I have to keep the gear that I have and continue on with the video. No extra currency will be added for rerolls. Number 3, gear from mapping can be picked up and used if valed, and the same goes for bosses, but only if their entry fee is included in the budget of the video, which I'm not planning on for this one. Number 4, I am not allowed to sell gear, and any gear that I buy, I can't accept any freebies. If someone wants to sell me something that is 10 exalted and say, you know what, have it for free, I can't take that. I have to pay. Number 5, I will be attempting pinnacle bosses, mapping content, etc., and I will have to get access to those things. I will be purchasing arbiter kills and breach stones in order to access that content, and the price of those is not going to be factored into the 10 divine budget of this video. And lastly, number 7, I will be showing all trades and explaining my rationale for every item that I purchase. That way, if you are also Vaalin on a budget with an attribute stacking gemling legionnaire, you can follow along and maybe buff your build up as well. That's the whole idea behind this video. What can you do with a smaller budget? Alright, and with all that said, the TLDR is the budget is 10 divines, that's it. I'm planning on potentially making this a series if you guys enjoy this type of video. We can do all kinds of other builds with a lower budget and just see how far we can push it. Let me know in the comments if it's something you'd like to see. But let's go ahead and get started with purchasing the gear. Alright, so getting into the gear, the first thing we're going to focus on are the items I consider absolutely essential for a gemling stat stacker at this point in the game. Those items are the Pillar of the Cage God, which I need to attack, the Hand of Wisdom and Action Furtive Wraps, the HOWAs, and the Maelstrom Mana Flask. But before we get any of those items, which we're going to be trying to buy for Exalted first before any Divines, we obviously need some Exalted. So let's cash those out. Alright, we got 400 Exalted, or 405 or so for one Divine. Let's see what we can find on the trade website for the Pillar of the Cage God. Alright, so looking at the Pillar of the Cage God, we have 2 that were posted in the last few minutes. This first one for 1 Exalted has no sockets, and the second one has 2 sockets and half quality. We're actually going to go for this one, because, oh, well, maybe we're not. Let's try again. We are going to go for the first one. I was going to say we were going to go for the second one because the quality and the sockets that it had on it would actually be cheaper for us to buy than for us to do it ourselves. As you can see, since the last clip, I have spent some of my currency on Val Orbs, Artificer's Orbs, and Arcanist Fletchers. And these are so we can quality socket and Val the items that we're looking for right now. And the first one is the Pillar of the Cage God. So hopefully this guy will respond to us. Maybe, maybe not. We're playing a bit of trade site roulette right now. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording, and I'll get back to you if we're going to end up buying it from this guy or not. Ladies and gentlemen, Gellerina has delivered. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a goofball. I bought the Arcanist Etcher thinking that I was going to use it to add quality to this quarterstaff. You can't do that. I played Path of Exile 2 for how many hundreds of hours, Path of Exile 1 for how many thousands, and I wasn't even thinking of the fact that you need to use the Blacksmith's Whetstone for a weapon, like a melee weapon, not this. So I wasted exalted orbs on this. I'll sell them back and get a good portion of it back, but I just thought that was kind of funny that I wasn't thinking straight. Anyway, I did already socket this. I did already qual it. Let's go ahead and see what the exalted orb lands. In a best case scenario, we're getting 8% attack speed implicit, or we're getting 3 sockets. We want one of those two. Wish us luck. Oh, it rolled to 12% weapon damage. That's actually very good. That was a really good Val Orb. I'm really happy about that. So now that we have our Pillar of the Cage God, the next thing we're going to do is put some Soul Cores in it. And the two in particular we're going to be putting in it are these ones, which give us 10% increased attack speed. I am not going to try to pronounce that word. Thankfully, these are pretty cheap. So let's go ahead and buy 2 of them for a total of 60 exalted. Slim them in our weapon. And we are ready to go for the HOWAs. I'll see you in the next clip. Okay, everyone, as I try to buy the HOWAs, I just want to say something really quick. If you are selling something on the trade website and you're trying to sell it for cheap, don't be this guy. Don't be that guy that undercuts everyone else's prices and then ignores every person who PMs you because you just wanted to troll people. That's super, super, super uncool. But you know what is really cool? Subscribing. And you should do that. All right, everyone, we have arrived at the moment that we are buying our HOWAs, and truth be told, I have scoured the trade website, and I just kind of gave up. There are too many people not responding to trades, so we're just buying them unidentified, and we are going to hope that we get really, really lucky and hit a really nice roll on these HOWAs. So let's go ahead and give it a shot and see what we get. All right, 1824, that's not terrible. Now we need to quality socket and Val. Before I quality socket and Val the HOWAs, I want to explain why I spent so much on them. First off, HOWAs, regardless, are not going to be cheap. You can buy them really cheap when they're corrupted if they have a bad corrupt, but if you're buying them raw, where they are just identified and not corrupted, it's at least 3 to 4 divines, and when I tried to buy them for 3, no one would sell them to me. Second, we have a chance to get very, very lucky here. The HOWAs are by far the most important part of this build. They give us probably 90% or more of our damage. And if we quality socket and Val and we hit a, 4% 1 to 10, 4% 1 to 11, 4% 1 to 12, or even a 2 or 3% 1 to 11 or 1 to 12, that's a really good Val. And we can actually, theoretically, if we wanted to, sell them and make money. I'm hoping that we get lucky. I'm not optimistic. We were very lucky with our quarterstaff. I'm hoping we can repeat that, luck. But let's go ahead and get into it. Let's see what we get. All right, here goes. Moment of truth. Please be lucky. We got a second socket. I will take it. That is well worth the Val Orb. Good outcome. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the final item that we need to complete our set of items that are, from what I consider, probably pivotal to this build. We are getting the Melting Maelstrom Mana Flask, and that will give us the Staff, the HOWAs, and the Mana Flask, and then we are good to purchase the rest of our gear. Okay, everyone, we're back, and I went ahead and quality'd and val'd this. It doesn't really matter what it rolled. I did quality it up to 20% and val it, and it rolled backwards on the quality, which is not a problem. It's going to work the exact same pretty much, but as you can see, we have 5 divines left. I'm sorry I didn't get this on recording, by the way. I actually did record it, and then I got like 3 phone notifications, and I didn't have my phone on silent, and it just completely blew up in the mic, so we're going to skip that clip. Regardless, the next thing on our list is to fill out the rest of the gear, and I think what I'm going to focus on first is the skill gems, and that's because I want to make sure that I actually have attacks to kill monsters before I worry about anything as it pertains to gear. So that's on the list next. What I'm probably going to do is just skip to a bunch of short clips and not kind of go as in-depth as I was with these 3 items, just because I want to keep this video not 6 hours long. So I'll see you at the next check-in, which is probably going to be either us being fully geared or us running out of money. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally found someone to sell us spirit gems. I have been trying to buy spirit gems for the greater part of 20 to 30 minutes, and anywhere from level 17 to 18. I finally just decided to go with 18. I probably overpaid for those at 30 exalted apiece, but oh my god, that took so long. And on the contrary, these literally took 2 seconds to buy. And wouldn't you know it, the same guy who just sold us the skill gems is also going to sell us the support gems. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. And here we are buying the cheapest Adziri's Disdain I could possibly find on the trade website. Thank you, Mr. Dush Barrage. I appreciate you. This trade might be kind of ballsy, spending a whole divine and we only have about 4 left, but I'm going to go ahead and buy this Grand Regalia. I think it's going to be a really good addition to our build. I'm really hoping that when we get a Val on this, that it rolls very well, but only time will tell. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm really happy with this purchase. We're getting a pretty sick res belt for only 50 Exalted. So thank you, Mr. Monkey Shouldered. I greatly appreciate you. All right, we managed to pick up our little baby Astramentus. Look, he's so cute. From, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but thank you. I appreciate you. And our boots are coming from Mr. Baba Yaga. Thank you very much, sir. Truth be told, I really don't think this breach ring is worth 80 Exalted, but I have been trying to buy one for like half an hour. Thank you, Godly Creation. You are heavenly. Did you see what I did there? Another 20 Exalted breach ring from this gentleman. Thank you, sir. I have so much respect for people who are willing to sell things for 1 Exalted this late in the league that I'm going to give him double. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Can't forget the thawing charm. Your boy don't want to get frozen. This man is my savior, as I have spent just an exceedingly large amount of time trying to buy jewels from people. TVP Chaos, you are an MVP. Here comes jewel number 2. Thank you very much. Jewel number 3. Jewel number 4. Everybody give it up for number 5. Number 6. Lucky number 7. Number 8. Getting pricey. Number 9. And last but not least, number 10, which I'm pretty sure is worth way more than 60 Exalted. Thank you, sir. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at that time. We are pretty much fully geared. I have not quality socketed and valved things yet. We're going to get to that in a moment, but I want to go over the currency tab. So obviously, we started with 10 divines. We have 54 Exalted left. I obviously purchased some Val orbs. I purchased some additional crafting currency, including the jeweler's orbs that we're going to use for our skill gems. We have some runes down here we're going to throw in our armor for some res. We have the adaptive catalyst we're going to use for our amulet. And these guys are actually going to go into my quarterstaff here. I'm going to swap out the attack speed and go for elemental resistance penetration instead. And then we have these little delirium things down here that we're going to use to instill on our amulet. So let's check out the gear that we got. For our gear, at least so far, this is the stuff that we got. Purchased some breach rings, purchased some boots. Obviously couldn't get an ingenuity because a ingenuity that is not corrupted is far outside of the budget of this build. We bought all these support gems. We have all these spirit gems over here and these skill gems over here. I just bought the spirit and skill gems and crafted these. And then we have all of these jewels down here as well. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. Buying all of this gear was an absolute pain in the ass. And the reason I say it was a pain in the ass is because I got ignored by so many people on the trade website. Now, I understand we're late in the league and I'm buying things for 10, 20, 30 Exalted, and it's probably not worth the person's time to trade me. But if that's the case, take your item off the website. Because if you ignore me, you ain't no fan of mine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment. This is the time if we find out if we brick the crap out of this account right now. I have qualityed, socketed, and valed everything. I have also instilled blurred motion on my amulet and used the attribute catalyst to increase the attributes on it. Everything is fully ready to go for the Val orbs, including all of our skills here. I have put these all into my my skill panel here, given them all a lesser and a greater jeweler's orb. So the only remaining thing to do is Val stuff. Wish me good luck. RNGesus, please be with us. We are not using Omens of Corruption, so this could go very negatively. I'm just going to do it quickly. Just get it over with. I'm just going to get it over with. Okay. Let's see what the damage is. Let's check on the jewels first. Okay, so that one didn't change at all, I don't think. That one added fire res, that's great. This one added something to it, maybe minions. Intelligence. Okay, so far so good. No way. This one I think lost something. Wow. That was overall incredibly lucky on the jewels. I am very happy about that. Very happy about that. Now let's check the other items. not going to probably be so happy about these. This guy had, I don't think it did anything. The amulet. Oh, thank God the amulet didn't brick. I was so worried about this amulet. Thank God the amulet didn't brick. What about the Grand Regalia? 16% of damage recouped his life. That's pretty much worthless to me. This ring. Oh, no way. That is such a good corrupt on this ring. And this one, I don't think it did anything. These boots got freeze threshold. That's decent. Don't think anything happened to the belt. Don't think anything happened to the flask. It might have lost quality. And this guy didn't really do anything either. This was a really good Vaaling session. I'm shocked. That could have been remarkably worse. I am super happy with pretty much every single one of those outcomes. That's fantastic. All right, with all of the gear valed, it is obviously time to do the skills as well, so let's get into that. That did nothing. And nothing. Oh no, the temp. No way. No way. I just realized Tempest Flurry went up to 5. Oh my god, that is so good. Okay, so the Tempest Bell didn't really do anything. Charge Staff went up to 23% quality. Herald of Thunder went down to 3. That's a bummer. Herald of Ice went up to 22% quality. Grim Feast went down to 3. Cast on Shock did nothing, I don't think. And Combat Frenzy got -1 levels. So this was also good. I am super happy about that Tempest Flurry. That saved me having to buy a Perfect Jewelers, which is like 2 Divines. So also, I think some great outcomes. Super, super, super happy with all of that. Let's go ahead and get all the gear on and see where we sit. Ladies and gentlemen, the results are in. What did we end with our DPS on Tempest Flurry? We got 133,597. If you were expecting more than that, I'm sorry I disappointed you. If you're surprised, I'm happy you're surprised. But I consider this an absolute win based on our budget. We got lucky with some items with the Vaals. We got obviously really lucky with Tempest Flurry having 5 sockets with the Vaals as well. But I'm going to spend a few minutes here and go over my gear and kind of explain how I got to the point that I'm currently at. So if you've been following along to this point and are kind of lost, hopefully this will clear some things up for you. Alright, starting off with our weapon, we have the Pillar of the Cage God with 2 Topotante soul cores in it. The reason I chose to do those over the attack speed ones is because of boss damage. Just as a disclaimer, this is probably not a tier 4 Arbiter or a tier 4 Zest killer. As a matter of fact, I can pretty much guarantee that it's not. You could kill the boss with this build, but it's not going to be nearly as fast as I have in my videos. Let me show you guys a reason as to why I chose to do this. If I put on the staff that I currently use to run maps on my actual build, with 15% increased attack speed, you can see that at the level that we are currently at, the dexterity that we're at, it basically does nothing. It gives us an extra 2,000 DPS, which in my personal opinion is not worth it based on the bonuses that these soul cores give to us on monsters with better resistance. Alright, so my helmet. I chose to go with the Adziri's Disdain, which I did strictly for survivability reasons. If I wanted to get a little bit more damage, I could have picked a Black Sun Crest instead, and I could have bought a better one than this for probably the same 70 Exalted that I spent on this helmet. And as you can see, this would drastically increase my DPS, but look at my energy shield. It drops way down. If I put my Adziri's Disdain on, however, it goes way up. We gain over 2,000 ES. And since my res is so bad on this character, since I did not focus specifically on res, this Adziri's Disdain is giving me a remarkably large amount of survivability, which in my personal opinion at this level is much more important than damage. For my amulet, I went with this mini Astramentus. It has blurred motion instilled, which gives you extra dexterity and extra attack speed. It also gives us flat ES, but most importantly for this build at the moment, it gives us spirit. We need the 31 spirit in order to run all of the spirit gems that we currently have active. If you look at our allocation here, we have 1 spirit left over and we're using 130. So if we didn't have this amulet with spirit, I wouldn't be able to run all the spirit gems that I currently am. Obviously, it also has 15 to all attributes, 24 dexterity, and 37 intelligence, giving this amulet 106 additional attributes to our build, which is huge for a gemling stat stacker. For our rings, we have 2 breach rings. This first one gives us flat fire, flat cold, and a little bit of all the attributes. And the second one gives us dexterity, intelligence, and a lot of increased accuracy. The reason I went for the drastic number of increased accuracy is because of Falcon Dive. Falcon Dive is right here, and it gives us increased attack speed per 250 accuracy rating. So this ring right here gives us over 1% attack speed. It also gives us increased lightning damage and flat physical, which is nice as well. And coming back to this ring, the flat fire and the flat cold are important for your Tempest Bell. If you ignite and freeze your Tempest Bell in conjunction with this particular jewel right here, Rising Tempest, it actually increases the damage of the bell by at least 24%. So that's why we have flat fire and flat cold on our ring. For our chest plate, we went with the Warrior Invictus Grand Regalia with the 5% attributes and the 10% global defenses. This is the cheapest version of the Grand Regalia you can get with attributes on it, and obviously attributes is a staple. We wanted to increase all of our attributes by 20% by having 4 socketed cores in here, or 4 socketed runes in here, because obviously we're a gemling stat stacker. The higher our stats, the more damage we do and the faster we go. Our gloves are the HOWAs, and these are self-explanatory. They give us increased attack speed because we have super high dexterity, and they also give us increased damage because we have super high intelligence. If I take my HOWAs off, I do almost no damage. So if you're a gemling, you need a pair of HOWAs. Whether it's a 3% 1 to 10 or a 4% 1 to 12, they're going to be the absolute definition of necessity for your build. For our belt and our boots, I just went on the belt for an item with a bunch of resistances because my resistances are already so low. I needed at least something to boost me up. Every other attribute I really didn't care about. This is the best belt that I could find for the price, so that's why I bought it. And then for the boots, we did look for a boot pair with dexterity and intelligence on it. I would have really liked to have, instead of reduced shock, some sort of res like fire or cold, but still, these boots were only, a few tens of exalted, and I think well worth the price that we paid for them. For our skills, we're going to start with Tempest Flurry and work down the list. For Tempest Flurry, we were incredibly lucky to get it 5 linked. The gems that we have inside it are Martial Tempo, which increases our attack speed, Rage, which also increases our attack speed, Inspiration, which makes it cost less, Lightning Penetration, which allows us to do more damage to enemies with higher lightning resistance, and also Bullseye, which increases our accuracy rating and thus also our attack speed. For Tempest Bell, we have Concentrated Effect, Primal Armament, Overabundance, and Rising Tempest. If I would have gotten this 5 linked, my additional gem would have been Close Combat, which increases the damage of our Tempest Bell with enemies that are directly next to us. For Concentrated Effect, we get more area damage, but less area of effect, so it makes the bell more powerful, but have less overall area that it affects. Primal Armament also increases the power of the bell by giving it additional elemental damage, which pairs nicely with Rising Tempest, which increases the elemental damage done by the bell if you inflict certain elements to it, like fire, cold, and lightning. And then finally, we have Overabundance, which just increases the number of bells we can have by 1. So we can spam 2 bells at the same time. For our charged staff, we have Persistence, Lightning Exposure, Cold Exposure, and Strip Away. If I were to get this 5 linked, my additional gem would have been Coaling Strike, which allows us to kill magic, unique, or rare enemies just a little bit quicker by basically eliminating the last few percentage points of their life. Persistence allows us to use the charged staff a little bit longer. Lightning Exposure allows us to do more lightning damage or actually strips away lightning resistance from enemies. Cold Exposure does the same thing with cold. And then Strip Away gives us increased effect of the exposures that we are dealing, making Charged Staff incredibly powerful and a huge boost to Tempest Flurry. For Herald of Thunder, we are turning it into an ice-making machine. We have Glaciation, which causes additional freeze buildup, Cold Infusion, which gives us extra cold damage and less fire and lightning, Ice Bite, which also gives us extra cold damage when an enemy is freezed, And then if I had 4 and 5 sockets in this order, I would add cold penetration, which again gives us extra cold damage on enemies with cold resistances. And then ambush, which would give us a big boost of damage on enemies with full life. So this is a great gem to have when you're mapping and you're running through maps really quick. All those enemies have full life, so you have additional 100% critical chance against them when you're moving through maps really quick. Unfortunately, we ended up losing a socket on this, but beggars can't be choosers. We were lucky on the other ones. For Herald of Ice, we're basically doing the exact opposite thing that we did with Herald of Thunder and giving this a bunch of shock ability. So for a magnified effect, we have increased area of effect of Herald of Ice. With Conduction, we give it an increased chance to shock. With Innervate, we give it lightning damage. With Overcharge, we increase the magnitude of shock that is dealt. And then if I had a 5th link here, I would have probably put in Shock Siphon. And Shock Siphon's really nice to bolster our ES or give us ES back when an enemy that's killed has been shocked. For our last 3 skills, we have Grim Feast first. Grim Feast basically runs 24/7 and gives us the ability to double our ES. As we kill monsters, we pick up these like soul type things, and it gives us extra ES, which can potentially double it, leading us to have almost 6,000 total ES as we run around maps. For Combat Frenzy, we generate frenzy charges with this particular skill, and instead of generating frenzy charges, since we have resonance on our passive tree, we actually generate power charges, and those power charges are used for charge staff. Inside of Combat Frenzy, we have Perfusion, which just gives us additional charges gained, and then Precision. And Precision can technically be in any of these skills. It just means that while any of these skills are active, we are getting increased accuracy, and the reason that's important is because we have Falcon Dive. The higher our accuracy, the quicker we attack, aka the more damage we do. For Cast on Shock, we had to put a level 13 skill gem in here, and full disclosure, I did forget to buy this when I was buying all my gear, but I can more than afford it with the 60 or 50 divines or exalted that I still have left. The reason we're using level 13 is because anything higher drains the ever-living shit out of your mana. We only use Cast on Shock while we're killing bosses, so in order to support Eye of Winter, we have Impetus, which gives us increased energy, which is used to cast this spell, and then we have Energy Retention, which is used to give us a chance to get some of our energy back when Eye of Winter is cast. And that's all of our skills. I hope that was informative because it was super long. And with all of that being said, it's time to put our gear to the test. How well did we actually do gearing our build with a 10 divine budget? Let's start by running this juicy tier 15 map to find out. After the map, we'll run some bosses, and then I'll meet you guys at the end for an overall recap. Game on. Well, 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 what a journey, my friends. We took a naked character, we gave it 10 divines, and we fulfilled a dream of completing some of the game's hardest content on a budget. I can honestly say I am very happy with the results of this build. Based on my testing, the only content that we are unable to do at our current level of power is the Tier 4 Simulacrum. Tier 4 Arbiter, Tier 4 Zest, and Zarok stood no match for our build, and it ultimately fell to its budgeted 10 divine power. To close out the video, I just want to say that if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like this, leave the video a like and let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to also check the description of the video for a path of building for this specific character. If you enjoy my content and long-form educational PoE 2 videos, dropping a subscribe would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.